Thank you, everyone, for a new episode of So Zoom In. Today, we are zooming in with the beautiful and very talented Simone McIntyre. She is in the UK. Where exactly in the UK are you?
Right. I'm in London.
You're in London proper. Okay. All right.
I'm in London. I'm in the suburbs. So actually, our Prime Minister is my representative, is my MP.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
I know.
Thank you so very much for joining me. And we have this time difference going on, but I just love that we're able to do this.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fine.
Now, I have to say, you are remarkable. You are an actress and you are a producer and you are pretty much a magic maker. When you set your mind to something, you make it happen. And I love that.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Now, you're currently filming something, right? You're in production right now, right?
Actually, yeah. Well, as an actor, this last week I was filming in Devon. I've actually got crutches again now. But anyway, that's another story.
Okay, wait. What happened?
I fell. I've already got a bit of a dodgy ankle, and it's gone. Just when I was starting to jump, you know, in my dance classes on Zoom that we've been doing during lockdown, and I was like, oh, my ankle's getting really good. I've gone and stepped bad because they were in like a barn that's like disused, didn't even have a bathroom. Have you heard of a compost toilet?
No.
Yeah, it was that kind of old fashioned.
Okay.
Anyway, so I stepped in I didn't see the hole in the ground. So, but yeah, it's fine. I think I'm down to one crutch, which it happened last week, a few days ago. So I'll be healing. Sorry. But yeah, but so that wasn't my project. I mean, I'm in it. It's not one I was producing, but it's about a pandemic, and we obviously started it before the current situation. So they had to postpone everything, so they picked it up again just last week.
What? Okay. All right. Well, speaking of the pandemic, what exactly been going on in your city, your suburb area, because of this pandemic?
It's really quiet. I think some people are still. I think today they released a memo. Somebody said that some people have literally been shielding since March 22nd. And today they were told that they are good to be outside. And it just occurred to me, this is week 22 of this. We were told 3 weeks to protect the NHS, not overwhelm them. So week 22, but anyway, it's many people are just not affected, not bothered, not noticing, and then other people are their businesses have disappeared, all sorts of things. So I don't know, the way it felt, like it feels different in the air now. We seem to have other things to worry about, which for me are not even the pandemic. More to do with the constraints on our lives. The virus and the pandemic is not something that that I worry about. It's everything else that's going on. So the strangest thing for me is where they just last week decided that, again, they keep changing the rules. They decided we have to wear masks everywhere, but I'm seeing less and less people wearing them or believing that they need to. And it's very strange to be told as you enter a restaurant, you need to have one on. Right. And then you can take it off when you sit down to order. Like,
okay.
We're in a very strange TV show.
It does feel like a TV show, doesn't it? It really does. Like this really bizarre reality TV show.
Yeah.
With reality TV shows, it makes you wonder, is it scripted or is it not scripted?
Oh, yeah. Really scary. I mean, I even wrote, I've written a treatment for a show, and I'm like, shoot, this is going to be a documentary by the time we make it. Hopefully not, I think. It's very worrying. But, you know, I think if we visualize or hope for the best outcome, we'll get the best outcome. And if we focus on the fear, the worst can happen. And that's my perspective and my outlook on it.
I like that.
Yeah, and I've been quite productive these last few months. So I think I will keep my my way of thinking rather than get caught up in the fear, which it just blocks you, I think.
Well, you've been very, I mean, you've done these short films that keep winning awards.
Yeah, I'm really
congratulations.
Blessed. Thank you.
Yeah. So how many short films do you have going on right now?
So I have 2 on the festival circuit that I did, and one that's coming to the end of the run, and one that was just started the run a couple of months ago, and we've got 2 awards on that. Overcoat is the latest one. So I'm really proud of that. And actually, we just got 2 more selections, one in India, one in Italy yesterday, so I'm quite happy. And then the other one was called, that's the Overcoat. And also, we did an extended version on that film because it's really, for those people who don't know the story, it's written by a Ukrainian writer in 1840 or something. And it's one of those stories that people have interpreted, and it's really valid today. And it's just about a man whose life changes. It's quite miserable, represented by a miserable coat. And it changes when he gets a new coat. And it's quite surreal. Our film is quite surreal. But we did a version, a longer version, in tribute to the Ukrainian filmmaker Oleg Sentsov. And he was a prisoner of conscience just until he was released during the pandemic, I think, just a couple of months ago. He's a prisoner of conscience, so, you know, a prisoner for speaking out, for making art against the government narrative, what have you. And now, that extended version with the tribute to him and what's happening seems to be so relevant to what's going on in the world right now, in a worrying way.
So is that something that people can see anywhere right now, or?
So the next definite one is it's a Mexico one in September, I think. But I will post let me see, because not all of these festivals are doing online screening. We've had a couple of screenings on, we have about 2 or 3 online. So I'll be posting about that for the next one. I'm not sure when that is. But that's a weird thing as well, online festivals.
Right.
Just go with it, because you don't know how long this is going to last for. So you could say, let's wait, but then you could be waiting forever. And actually the last one, so we won a festival called the Bobritsa Festival, which is in the Ukraine, which is nice because the original story is Ukrainian. They actually postponed their festival, but they had it last week outside. So they had a real live film festival.
Nice.
Which everyone else is online. They actually had, obviously I wasn't there, but I saw the pictures. So it's better to just get on with it, I think.
Right, I agree. So did they actually film the movies outside?
They showed the screenings were all outside, yes.
For summertime, that's perfect. That's ingenious. Yeah, that's
I think that was fantastic. I think so. It's the way to get around it. I don't know that we can do that in the winter, but at least,
yeah, a little cool, especially in London. But that's wonderful. Okay, so once your films have made the circuit, speaking of which, we met at the Cannes Film Festival last year, and that was so wonderful.
Yeah,
to actually, to have that networking opportunity. So that's why these festivals in person are so important, because it gives
definitely, because you kind of lose that completely with the online. I mean, there's an effort made with the screening and the chat and the interviews or what have you, but it's not the same as human interaction.
Right, having that glass of wine and breaking bread, that's so important. So I'm fingers crossed that this all comes back soon. But you have all these amazing movies. So once it does the festival circuit, then what? How can the average person, see your movie?
So we're just deciding where to house the older film Mioleku, which is the one that was on in LA. Mm-hmm. So that's more of a coming of age story about a young Black British guy who's haunted. He's got lots of visions, and it turns out he's been haunted by visions of an African ancestor. Actually, when that screened at we were at the Hollywood Film Festival. When that screened there, it seemed to resonate with a lot of people, and it's because America's made of immigrants, isn't it? And that really took me by surprise, that this story that was so London really in many ways resonated with a lot of people. But so we're just deciding where to house that online, streaming wise. So that will be the first one that will be announced. But we have a couple more festivals to come with that too. So it's quite exciting, really. Yeah.
Now, do you have you produced something that you're actually in yourself, or do you keep that separate?
Well, I am in the Overcoat. I'm not the main character, but I play someone who's really mean. So it's so much fun.
Mean?
Yeah, I was so mean. Oh, it's great. She was like literally made of ice.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, like, I don't know, you always hear actors say, oh, it's really delicious to play the complete opposite of your play, someone who's really horrible. This is just more interesting. You have to really work hard, because obviously when you create a character, you don't the character herself doesn't necessarily think wouldn't think she's mean. She thinks that she's right, she's doing the right thing, and but that was fun. So I'm in that one. And I did do something. The first thing I made was something that I'm in as the main character, but we've got a tiny tweak we're going to do on it and then release it into festivals. But we actually had a kind of an offer for it to go on a streamer already, so that's interesting. Of course, I wrote it myself, so of course it's a spy thriller. Of course,
nice.
Who wouldn't want to play that? But yeah, and then otherwise, in terms of being in things and creating, I just like telling stories actually. But I've done more producing with things that I'm not in, so I'm quite keen to be in stuff as well now. It was quite nice filming the horror film recently and to not be responsible for anything. Just show off and act. That was a nice feeling. So.
Oh, good. And okay, so you're writing also. Are you writing something right now?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things on that I need to focus on. A dystopian sci-fi project. And I actually came up with quite a few more ideas during this lockdown. It was a time for bearing fruit with ideas and seeing what you could do. And then I've also been thinking in terms of doing things small, because the rules keep changing. So we actually have something that I was filming with the director of Overcoat, Justin, just before the lockdown. It's an action short, but we have to finish that. But it's quite ambitious, and with lots of restrictions and people not being comfortable, we have to really be careful, because a lot of people aren't comfortable yet. So anything else that I do immediately is going to be quite small and compact and easy to get
definitely
done.
Contained. Yeah. Yeah, I get that here too.
Yeah.
But but this ambitious part, ambitious as a part of editing and adding stuff, post or
ambitious in terms of like weapons, VFX.
Okay.
In a couple of the scenes, a lot of action, but then a couple of the scenes are quite quiet. So we would probably just do everything apart from the most ambitious scene. I think that's the easiest technique right now. But yeah, there are a lot of things keep changing, and so I don't know how anyone can plan anything.
But you're always being good on your feet. When something is thrown at you, you deal with it, and you're creative, and you never.
Life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
And you do.
Yeah.
And then you make a little lemon cake and lemon meringue.
That's
there
right.
Too. You just got to go with it, and you keep.
That's right.
Now you've been making films since what, 2005? Before then, or?
As an actor, yeah.
So what inspired you to get into acting?
Well, at school, I used to do dance. Dance was my thing, and I wanted to be a dance choreographer. But then I started we have something called speech and drama, and I did like all the certificates and medals as a teenager. But I had a school, a special place at a expensive school, and it felt like a kick in the teeth to say to mum and dad, I'm going to go and do dance choreography degree instead of academic stuff, right? so I kind of went to do languages at uni. I love languages though, so I'm not regretting that. But I kept up the dance. I was in a troupe. I spent a year in Spain, and I was even in a hip hop troupe there. But then when I came back and I started working normally, I actually worked for a record label. I worked for Britney Spears' label. I started a theatre group. Joined a theatre group with my sister.
I lost you.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I totally lost you.
Oh, can you hear me now? I'm here.
Oh, you're back. Okay. All right.
I'm back.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Where did I get? Theatre group?
I heard
dance.
I heard Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went with my sister to a drama group audition, like for youth theatre, and the guy was like, "Well, aren't you auditioning as well?" And I went, and before I knew it, I was auditioning, and so then we were both in this group, and it was really my thing to do the drama anyway, more than her. And that was like, oh, do you know what? I loved it. I loved finishing my day job. I called it a day job there. Finishing my day job at the record label and going to do rehearsal for musicals and stuff. And so that's when I applied to drama school, because obviously I tried to beat the performer out of me, and that didn't happen.
Good. I'm glad.
It's still here. So
good. And so you got into that. So when did producing roll around for you? How did that happen?
Was 2016. 2015 when I wrote the shorts. I'd always had in my head that I wanted to make stuff, but I didn't realize I could write them. That's still the thing that I'm developing the most as well. But the writing, I mean. But I was like, okay, let me have a go, because I always thought, well, I'm going to have to find a writer to bring my ideas to life. Actually, I just wrote something and then I showed Justin. And he goes, oh, I'd like to make this. This is my style. And I was like, really? I was so taken aback. And I was like, okay, I'll look for someone to produce it then. He said, oh, no, you can produce it. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And here we are.
Bravo. I love
basically
it. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, you just have to do it. You set your mind to something and you make it happen.
I think so. And things just fell into place. I managed to, on that project, get everything for like nothing, for fantastic locations, and people. I was really taken aback, and it just worked. So it didn't even seem like hard work. It was so much fun. And when you see something coming to life in your head, to the page, to the screen, to the screening, it's crazy. So it just gave me the buzz and the bug.
Oh, that's that tells me that you're meant to do that. If it all just falls into place and it just happens effortlessly, that's your
how
thing.
It felt. So I just have to keep going.
Exactly. Exactly. So all right. So now you're going to be in this horror film. What's next for you after that? What do you want to happen?
So what I would like to happen is to produce my first feature, and be in it. I'll have a nice role in it as well. I think that would be the thing that I could like to pick out of the hat as the next thing, because obviously the next step up is to produce a feature, because I've been doing shorts. Or to have my TV show picked up, something to develop seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, those would be the things that make me super happy right now.
Okay. So your TV show, what is that about?
Oh, it's a dystopian sci-fi project.
Which everyone loves.
Everyone loves.
Especially now.
Now it does seem like I've created a documentary. It really does. I'm a bit concerned. But I think it kind of, I don't want to give too much away about the storyline, but I tell you what inspired me about it to create this idea was because I kept seeing violence on social media, and I kept seeing police violence and brutality, and I was like, what is this about? Where does this come from? And then I thought, it occurs to me that some people don't realize that subconsciously they've been programmed to think a certain way about certain groups of people. And this is why it manifests in such horrible behavior and attitudes. And people aren't even aware, they're not consciously aware that this is where it comes from. They think they don't realize they've been lied to and they've been brainwashed. I mean, that's maybe a bit deep for some people, but that's exactly how I see it. And so I thought, well, you know, my project is based on me thinking, what if people were forced to think another way because of the situation the world finds itself in? And that's all I will tell you right now.
Well, I love that. Well, it's funny. I was thinking about that last night. You know, I went through this whole theory of like what ifs. You know, what if? Because like yesterday was the Assumption of Mother Mary, where, you know, and a lot of people were like fighting back, like, you know, it's the day of this, the day of obligation, it's the day of this. I'm like, well, you know, apparently, you know, I think of Mother Mary as a goddess and, you know, the mother of angels. And, but it was just so interesting to see all the different feedback come up. And so, yeah, what if people did think differently? How would that change your life? You know, and I have to share this too. A friend of mine, she posted an article that had photos of posters saying, you know, God hates Jews. And I thought, wow. I never thought of God as, you know, the universal consciousness to me is God, and we're all love, and we all have the choice to exercise that love because we're all one. Now I'm going off on a totally different tangent. Sorry, but it's just consciousness, right? So you have the choice to believe and think however you want, and that's okay. And I think through story, that's the best way to share that, you know, through film. And so I hope your TV show, you know, is put together so people can see, yes, there is a different way of thinking. And yes, you know, thrillers don't have to be about, you know, hating or killing. It can be so, you know, how creative do you want your consciousness to become?
Absolutely.
You know, and get out of this template of it should be this way, it should be that way.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And it's also, I think we're in the most powerful medium. I really do think that, like, literally people will have an idea in their head of what a certain nationality is like because they've seen a movie. Like, I did languages. I told you I did French and Hispanic studies at uni. So I went to France a lot and Spain. I was always with, you know, very interesting experiences with different families, but we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
But I have a lot of stories. But one time, I think it was the first time when I went, and I was at school actually, and I went on my own. I was very lucky. I got a bursary, whatever. And the family were literally arguing with me because my parents are Jamaican. And they were arguing with me because they just like, you're not telling us the truth about your parents being Jamaican. And do you know why? Because they'd seen that film called Runnings. So according to them, that was the template for what Jamaica looks like and Jamaicans are. And I was like, well, you do realize that film wasn't even made in Jamaica, and it had one Jamaican in it, as far as I know, and they just weren't having it. It was the funniest thing. And I'm like, wow, so that means your whole perception on the whole nationality of people is based on one film. And they just didn't, even at my young age, I just thought this was ludicrous, and they just didn't get what I was trying to point out to them. So I guess I've always thought that film is like the most powerful thing ever to shape or to influence or to provoke thought, you know?
Oh, I agree. It really is. It really is. And especially film is such a collaborative process. You need to work with other people to share that vision. And then just by working together, you're getting more, you know, that vision expands just by working with the other people. You know, so when you're in that flow, you really have the opportunity to create something amazing.
Absolutely.
You know, so, and I think that's what I love about film. You know, it's just that collaborative effort, even though, you know, in the business, some people are like, oh, it's just all about me. When I think that's the biggest lie, because it can't be, because you know, it really can't be. So I think the fact that you're doing this is so important, because you are a woman of color, and you know, women have always been kind of like shut down. It's like, you can't. I mean, even growing up, it's like, well, like your parents, you should get an academic degree. Why pursue your dreams? Because, you need, it needs to be about the numbers. It needs to be about the money. But to really follow your passion and really open yourself up to spirit and the universe and say, okay, this is what I love, everything falls into place for you.
It does. And that's probably why I found it the first thing to get hold of all the things I needed to quickly, and I did without much effort, to be honest.
Right. No resistance. Exactly.
But yeah, it was a sign. You're absolutely right.
And I think as more and more people follow those dreams, like that saying, follow your bliss, right? When you just let go of all resistance and allow yourself to be, that's when everything falls into place.
Yeah, totally.
So you're doing it. And I love that. I'm like, Simone, so you go. Yeah, I mean, when I get money for financing, I'm like, Simone, come on, I need to cast you.
I'll be there.
Like, let's jump on that plane, even though we have to wear masks, 12 hours.
Oh my God, that is just so crazy. I'm like,
but when food is served, everyone takes off their mask at the same time to eat.
But the virus knows not to come out then. It's okay.
Right. No, it's like,
wow.
That's okay. No, it's like, who knows? It's like, we have the power to manifest anything.
It might have changed by then. We might have to wear. I saw somebody post that the mask wasn't good enough. It needs to have seal off the eyes as well a couple of weeks ago, and I almost fell off my chair. We don't know what they're going to ask us to wear in a couple of months.
Oh, that's okay. We'll just focus on teleportation,
That's right.
We'll just pull it out of the air. Yeah, who knows? Anything's possible. If not, we'll create it in a movie,
Yes.
And put that in everyone's subconsciousness that, it is possible, and who knows, right?
True.
You never know. You never know. So these film festivals, are you going to be able to go to the one in Italy because it's relatively close to you, or?
It looks like no. It looks like they're doing it online.
Okay.
They actually postponed it. They actually just said the other day. Well, so the Italian one definitely. So no, there's a Portuguese one. God, I've got a few. A Mexico one and a Portuguese and an Italian. Oh my gosh, I've got 4 coming. Yes.
That's
and
exciting.
even an India one, but they all literally are all online. But one, I don't know, one of them is October. So that seems like a while away. So who knows what can change. They just changed our rules here on Friday. So literally people were on holiday and they made the announcement in the evening, and they said at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. the rules changed. And you need to quarantine for 14 days if you're in France, and I think somewhere else that wasn't on the list. Now it isn't. So it just every minute. So I don't know. For me, quarantining, it's not really a big deal. I mean, I'm at home all the time anyway. I'm lucky I've got a big garden. Right. But I do feel for those people who suddenly just ran out of the hotel to cut their break short to avoid, because if you've got to go back to work, you can't go back to work if you have to physically go to work. So
right, it's so crazy. Yeah, well, but it's a good thing that you're able to get your writing done, and you work from home easily. That's good.
Yeah, I can. It's fine. It was a bit, so I've got a nice new chair which makes it easier to concentrate, comfort and stuff. And then if it's nice weather, I could be in the garden. It's not, for me, that's not a big deal, but for other people, it's a nightmare, right? Because they don't have the space, or they've got lots of kids at home, and I don't know. It's some people are having a really tough time. So I think, I don't know. There's a lot of mental health issues coming up right now, and I don't think I think it's being ignored and swept under the carpet, to be honest with you. And I think it's a real shame. Yeah.
What would you like to see? What would you like to see done about that? I mean, how?
I think there's a complete focus on the wrong thing right now. So, for example, I don't know what it's like over in the US, but So I know that people who were scheduled for example, cancer treatments, they've been postponed. So in the meantime, people are dying, but they're not dying from COVID-19. They're dying because they haven't had the treatment that they were supposed to have. Or if they were supposed to have an MRI, they've been waiting for 4 or 5 months because this is mad, because the units have been closed. And now there's a crazy backlog, isn't there? So I don't personally, I think everything should be opened up, especially for healthcare, because for example, over here, all the pubs and bars are open. And I think that all the clinics should be open properly.
Wait, so bars are open so people can drink, but yet...
And without, you don't wear a mask there either. So it's just complete lunacy. And the masks will say this does not protect you from any coronavirus or COVID-19. So you're like, okay, are we being had? Do people not see the lunacy here? Because...
So if you have cancer and need treatment, you can't get it.
Yeah, a lot of people have postponed, and so now there's a serious backlog, because of course those who were scheduled to have, I don't know, radiotherapy or what have you in April, so they might be open again to have it, but there's now a serious car crash of too many people at the same time.
Yeah.
In the meantime, people are slipping through the cracks, and we can't see in general, you can't go to the doctor. We have the GP, we call our doctors GPs, general practitioners, so everything's online. And I was in shock at how frustrated my mum got the other day when she needs to go to the doctor, because everything's online. And if you're 85 or something, you don't have time to be taking photos of whatever it is that's wrong with you and all this other stuff, and then doing video. And if you're lucky, you get a video call. What's that about?
Wow.
So I say just stay healthy if you can, and not need any of this, because it seems to be not so easy to access right now.
Yeah. But you don't get drunk. No, you have no problem
going to get drunk is perfectly fine.
Right.
There are no
yeah, it's okay.
There are no rules. In fact, over here, I don't know if you've heard this. So our the guy in charge of the money, I don't know what his name is, Chancellor, we call him the Chancellor. So get this, they give you I think £10 off a meal or something. So you go to a restaurant and they're covering the tax, and they give you an extra bonus. So basically, when I was filming last week, we went to the pub chain for dinner, and I got a load of stuff like a greedy fat pig, because I hadn't eaten much that day. And I paid £6 for the most ginormous thing, which would normally be 15 because of the government scheme. So you can eat lots of food for nothing Monday to Wednesday in a restaurant without a mask. But you can't easily access what you need for healthcare at the moment.
Wow. Okay, that is kind of wonky.
Yeah, I call it fattening up the cows before the slaughter, or so. I don't know. It just seems back to front, and I'm just looking. I'm going, sorry. I'd rather
great.
You just made essentials available.
This is definitely good writing material, though. Especially for the creative mind. It's we don't really need to call it sci-fi, because it's actually happening. It's
we really don't. I even saw something else on the government website. What did it say? It says something. Oh, so you have this too. I think everywhere you go, they point the temperature gun at your head, at your pineal gland.
Right.
Anyway, the government website says this does not do anything to detect coronavirus. So you're like, so why is this being done everywhere, and being done at even small children? And you're just
it's
lots and lots of question marks and not many answers.
Well, because there's that fear, because so many people are terrified and they can't think any differently.
It causes a block, the fear. So I've been personally not watching mainstream news on purpose. Well, I don't keep up with what's the mandates are. Oh, and that's another thing. Mandates are not laws.
but they make you believe they are.
A lot of people are not aware of this. And so you have people telling you stuff on the street, and it's like, there's no law. Yesterday's the government said so, and you're like, but there's no law, and a lot of people aren't even aware of that.
Right.
It's insane. This is a lot of writing material. Like, this is like,
yeah, I
don't know, the best time for writers, except if you're in fear, no, because then you're going to be boxed.
Right. Well, so write the material, and then it's like we just all have to band to get it made, and
just, I think, from the perspective of an alien, just watching and observing what's going on.
It's
there we go. I've come up with the concept.
There are lots of concepts on that one.
We are literally the TV show, and they're observing us, because it's completely, there's lots of madness. Lots of it. The swimming pools are open again, but not all the clinics are fully open and stuff. So now I can get my eyebrows done as of yesterday.
Okay. But you can't go get a checkup.
Men could get their hair cut, and they can get their beards done all this time when they opened up the barbers again. Except, don't tell anyone, where I live, the barber did not close one.
Good for him. No, he has a family to feed, right?
I think he took the business from everyone else, because it's crazy. But like, so you can tell that men are making these rules as well, because like, it's like, well, how are guys allowed to get their beard done and we're not allowed to get our eyebrows done and stuff? Like, so
yeah, lots of cray. But you're right, mental health is crucial right now. So to just find that space where you're grounded and don't watch the news and don't get swept up. Don't let triggers affect you, right?
I think that's the best thing to do, and just not be like, I watch my nephew, who's 2.5, he's always here, and he's just having a whale of a time, because I'm a big kid, so I'm there for playtime. So he's had like extra amounts of play because I'm physically around him a lot these last few months, and his speech has developed so much. I mean, he was really advanced, but it's insane now, and it's because we've had this more time together, and he's completely unaware of what's going on. And then sometimes I see some people out on the street, and they've got little kids walking along the street with a mask on, and it's like really sad. Really sad to see, because I would have thought they wouldn't have needed it if they're in the fresh air walking along the street.
I would think so. And it's hard, when you have the parent so ingrained, you can't really see, and that's what's upsetting. If someone chooses to wear a mask, okay, that's you. But don't fight with someone because that person is choosing not to wear a mask, or just like the person not wearing the mask who wants to give the person with the mask a hard time. It's like, we don't need that extra anxiety,
Absolutely. And also, because if you believe that works for you, then you shouldn't really worry about what anyone else is doing, because most people are keeping away from each other right now anyway, as if everyone's diseased, I notice. So that should be all that's needed.
That's so sad too, because we need that human interaction. We need that connectedness. We need that, when you walk in the street and bumping into each other, that's how people meet.
It's completely lost, because I think I personally observed in the last few years how we've lost some of our human interaction, because we've all got our smartphone. We've got our head on our smartphone. So if I commute, nobody pays any attention to what's going on purpose, because they are watching the latest episode of whatever on their smartphone, or they're on Facebook. Now there's like another layer that's been created, because there's the fear of being too close. And then there's also the face covering, so you can't even see people's reactions. You can't communicate with them in the same way. And I personally feel like all of these things are dehumanizing. That's my take on it.
Right. I agree. I hope it changes. I really do. But
it will change. It has to change.
Well, it's going to change in one way or another. It has to, because to me, it kind of feels like that balloon that's just like getting bigger and bigger, and doesn't, it's going to pop eventually. So question is, where will we be when that pops? What mindset will we be in?
Yes.
Are we going to be grounded? Or are we going to let it have us flail all over the place?
Yeah.
So it's a great time. Yeah, it's a great time to get to know who we are, right? If
that's really, really important, I think, because the sort of the time I've gotten really in tune with more with where I want to go and what I want to do, and remembering things that I love. So I told you I used to dance. Well, for the last few years, I haven't really been doing that, and especially because I had that injury, blah, blah, blah. But then I got these apps. There's so many apps doing offers, for work exercise, because the gym was shut. So I love to dance, but I'd almost forgotten how much I love to dance. And I got the apps, and I'm trying different things. And I even did Bollywood a few times, which is great. And so I was looking forward to doing something else until I hurt myself the other day. But in normal life, pre-COVID, I was too busy to explore these things. So this time has allowed me also to remember what I really love doing. I was doing ballet as well, ballet class week on Zoom. And just stop and look at what you're doing on Zoom.
Right.
but that really it's been a good time to remember what inspires me and do what inspires you and sets your that you're passionate about, because then it doesn't kind of matter what's going on. It doesn't affect you in the same way. We always notice that something shit can be happening, but different people are having a different reality, a different experience about it.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we all have different, or we all have our own journey. We're just all in the same realm. But exactly, following, exploring that part of you when you have given a chance to. That really is a blessing.
Yeah,
that really is a blessing. And I know people are spending more time together, and really getting to know their children or their spouse or their significant other, or even just learning how to like themselves. So I think a lot of people just don't really like themselves because they don't really know who they are. But being given that,
you got caught up in a routine that you realize sometimes. I think some people have realized that the routine they had didn't serve them. So some people are relishing going back to the office, and some people are actually, I didn't even like that job. I just took the pandemic to make me realize I've noticed, or to make changes, or to spend more time with your loved ones, or to spend less time because you realize you can't stand them. I mean, that's happened to some people as well, but I think it's all good. It's all, all positive. It's a shame that it had to be this way, but I do think the world needed something. So I'm hoping this is it.
Yeah, it's all up to us to just be grounded and present. Yeah. And ask questions.
Oh yes.
And
a great need for that.
Well, I'm glad you are. I'm glad you're doing it, and I'm glad you're writing, and I'm glad that you're, you are in that creative flow, because you're very, very talented, and I'm so very proud of you, Simone. And I'm so glad we met. I'm glad that because I know the Camp Film Festival didn't happen the same way as it did last year.
I know. I didn't even actually do the online thing. Some people said it was good. I'm not so sure that's good for me, but well, hopefully next year.
But if not, we had a chance to meet, so I'm glad.
Yeah, so that was great, and it was only last year, wasn't it? Yeah,
right. It's so, but a lot of great things are happening for you, and I'm very excited, and I look forward to seeing all these wonderful things keep coming to you.
Oh,
that's very exciting.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. And you have a website, SimoneMcIntyre.com?
I have a website. I don't put that, there's not much producing on there because I'm going to do another site. So it's SimoneMcIntyre.com, or I post about the the films on Instagram at the Simone McIntyre, or on Facebook, which is just Simone McIntyre.
Okay.
And the same on Twitter.
And is there any type of like email list so when these films are out, people can find them, or just follow you on Instagram?
Just follow on social media right now.
Okay.
Well, maybe when I get an assistant. No.
I follow.
Doing the social media, it takes a little, because I manage the accounts for the film. So the Overcoat one is called the Overcoat Movie. Just managing different social media accounts is enough.
Right. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Well, thank you so very much, Simone. I really appreciate your time. Be safe. Keep being your fabulous you. And I will
do my best.
As you radiate, you're radiating beauty and health and optimism, and people need to be around that. So
thank you. It's the only way to be. I pointed out to someone the other day, and I said they needed to hear this. I said, remember, we've all come here to die. So I'd rather live the way I want to, because I could go tomorrow anyway. So I'm not going to worry about all these other things. There's just no point, because then you won't believe in your true legacy. And they messaged me and were like, yeah, I really need to hear you say that, because then they changed their perspective. And I was like, okay, if that helps you, great. But that's how I live.
I love that. And more people need to hear that. So yeah, it's like we're here for a short time. So yeah, make the most of it and follow your bliss and be you. That's and you're awesome. So
thank you.
Thank you very much, Simone. All right. We will talk very soon. All right. Mwah.
Bye.
All right. Bye.